I just did a Venezuela video about Trump. Yeah, I didn't know shit was happening at that scale, but people told me in the comments apparently, like there's a lot of cartel gang members deliberately brought to US, which like I don't know much about that, but yeah, apparently people are saying it. I don't know. So overall, I think like especially when it comes to history between Venezuela and like USA, I think it goes really back multiple decades. And apparently, there's a 6-year-old video about Colombia has taken 1 million Venezuelans because of these gang-related things. I didn't know Venezuela was so gang-powered. And some people told me in the comments, like, it's surprised that somebody who's outside of all these things is commenting on it. Yeah, just because I'm outside of it doesn't mean I can't comment on it. That's why I have a channel. But if I say something definitive, I get it. Like, you have to call me out on it. But that's why I try not to say anything definitive, because I don't know shit. I'm just learning from these videos, and these videos could be biased. I know that. This was the channel Vox, which I'm sure is biased as well. And I think I saw the guy who has a new channel now, which I watched 1 or 2 video. What is his name? I forgot, but I'm pretty sure I saw him in the thumbnail. So he was part of Vox before, huh? This is going to be interesting. That's what it.
There is a crisis here. Millions of people have fled Venezuela as the country crumbles. Many of them are coming over this border into Colombia. Here in this border town of Cúcuta, you see people with suitcases full of all their belongings. They don't know where they're going, they just know they need to get out of their country.
Todas las tiendas están cerradas, todas las tiendas porque ya quebraron los negocios, las carnicerías, los supermercados.
Hold up there. Yeah, I remember like something like, oh, Venezuela's a socialist country, and people constantly bring up Venezuela as an example of how socialism is going, right? So yeah, Venezuela was going through crisis, right? How did it recover? Or did it recover? Is that why the issue is happening right now? Is that why Trump's like, oh, I'm going to invade it or something? Obviously, there's oil.
Proof of how bad it is in Venezuela right now. Look at this purse. This purse is made entirely of the bills of the Venezuelan currency, the bolívares. Inflation is so high that this money is now completely worthless. And so my friend Jorge over here has...
This is like a Weimar Republic after World War I, after, before World War II, how Germany was really bad. This is not good, man.
Gathered a ton of this stuff and turned it into commodities, into purses, into sculptures.
It is worse than it sounds, and it sounds pretty bad.
The country's inflation rate will rise to 1,000,000%.
Esto lo que yo tengo aquí, el que estuviera esto en Venezuela tenía plata, era millonario.
More than 1 million Venezuelans have moved into Colombia in recent years. And in an era of record-setting migration, when borders seem to be getting thicker, harder to cross, Colombia is doing something that you don't see very often. It's opening its doors and it's letting people in.
The border crisis is shocking.
Wait a minute, so why is Venezuela putting military at the Colombian border if Colombia is taking a lot of Venezuelan migrants? Is that why they're doing it? Because they don't want other ideology people intervening? That's not good. Then that's never good. Or is Colombia is like US aligned?
Real humanitarian crisis.
The economic crisis there is about to get even worse.
Is there a point at which Colombia and other countries in Latin America step in and say enough is enough now?
Okay, is that why Brazil is intervening? I thought it was mostly like US influence, but no, this has become a thing where other countries are worrying like this could cause regional problems, I guess. So Brazil, US, and Colombia is intervening because of that.
This border town of Cúcuta is now totally bustling. This is the very end of the border, right as people are entering. So the one thing that you'll hear that is a little interesting is se compra cabello. We buy hair. To continue on their way to make some money is the women will sell their hair. Basically get 100,000 pesos, which is like $30.
Okay, what are they going to do with the hair though? And money has no So what are the barter trade now? This is weird. So how did they recover from that? Does the currency have a new value now, or is that did they adopt some other currency from other country?
I'm eating a Venezuelan style hot dog. And the guys are reflecting on how much this hot dog would cost if they were trying to buy it in Venezuela with the current economic situation.
87% of the country's households into poverty.
Images.
Oh my God, this is so insane. Imagine the people who just saved their whole life and then are older now. They're like, I'm going to enjoy my life saving. Life saving means nothing because currency dropped. This is why people buy land. If not now, at least tomorrow it will some value something. It's a land, right? If government doesn't become dictatorial and take it from you, at least land have some value. This is why a lot of rich people usually buy land, doesn't just keep the money. It doesn't have liquidating money, right? I mean, obviously something like dollar or something is not going to go out of value, so there's no worry there. But something like Venezuela, if somebody has the life saving, what about them now?
We have just never seen in Latin America before is unfortunately something we're seeing now.
The collapse of Venezuela didn't happen because of a civil war or a natural disaster, but rather the colossal economic mismanagement by the country's leader, Nicolás Maduro. In just a few years, Maduro grabbed control of most of the government and then drove the country into an economic disaster worse than the Great Depression and the fall of the Soviet Union.
Hay mucha gente pobre y con hambre.
Que no se consigue medicina, la enfermedad de los niños, las vacunas.
En Venezuela ahorita un almuerzo sale un realero.
Of the 2 million people who have left Venezuela in the midst of this crisis, about 1 million have come to Colombia, easily more than any other country. The response by most countries in the region has been to put up new measures.
Yeah, this is why you should have like homegrown farming things, whether it's equipment, the equipment you need to farm, right? Like fertilizer and everything should be homegrown. So it doesn't matter what happens, at least you don't run out of that. So people can actually farm and there is no food crisis. All countries worry about making things in their home, but they don't worry about like making everything farming related in home. Because if they can do that, there is a pretty good chance, doesn't matter what happens, you can probably grow food at least, and that will have some value, right? Like, and people can barter for food at least.
To stop migrants from flooding into their country, but not Colombia. Here, the border stays relatively easy to cross. And even though Colombia already has millions of its own people in need of humanitarian assistance, the Colombian people and politicians continue to let these migrants in.
So I have decided that we're not going to close the border. We have to give them support.
Wait a minute, is that fully just humanitarian thing, or is there some hidden thing behind it? Because if it's humanitarian, like that's just kudos to Colombia, right? At least they did that. That's more than most countries can say. At least they took them.
Now we're in the refugee camp, is what they're calling it. And here the government provides all sorts of services to these people.
Hay odontología, hay asistencia legal, asesoría psicológica.
Haircuts and manicures.
That's essential.
Today in the camp they're playing music, some Colombian, some Venezuelan, and everyone, locals, migrants, starts singing and clapping along.
No nos dividen fronteras, tenemos un mismo cielo que nos acobija. Venimos a que sepan que tu bandera es mi bandera. Queremos dar gracias a la tierra colombiana y bendecir a Colombia.
Pienso que estamos muy agradecidos con el pueblo colombiano, porque personas como ella, nosotros nos podemos alimentar.
The Colombian government has given most of these migrants status, allowing them to live in the country, get health care, work, and study for 2 years. But it's not just the Colombian government opening its doors. In a neighborhood near the border, people have started taking migrants into their homes, indefinitely and for free.
Pero yo acá tengo...
Okay. Who are Colombian people, man? This is next level. Not just letting them in your country, in your home. I didn't know Colombian hospitality was that strong. All right. I mean, I heard of Colombia because of soccer, football, World Cups and things, but I didn't know much about them. This is good.
Cuatro. Cuatro nomás.
¿Es una familia?
Sí, es una familia. No me da miedo. Sé que si lo hago de buen corazón, yo sé que Dios no va a dejar que a mí nada malo me suceda.
Hola amigos, ¿qué tal?
O sea, ustedes también tienen sus propias necesidades. ¿Cómo lo hacen llevar las necesidades de otras personas? ¿Es difícil eso?
Sí, claro. No es fácil, pero uno guerrero.
Okay, I get it why he's asking that, but imagine him asking that to some guy like, you know what, I didn't thought of that. I do have my needs. Okay, get out. This guy said it and I realized it. There you go.
Uno como colombiano es luchador. Uno dice, no, pues ahí aguantamos para todos. Ahí desde que traten de aguantar, ¿no? ¿Sí?
Carlos también nos ha ayudado, que eso sí, siempre lo vamos a agradecer, pero...
Y se han portado bien, gracias a Dios.
And to understand why these people are opening up their doors to Venezuelans, you have to understand their past. If you go back to the 1800s, Colombia and Venezuela were actually a part of the same country called Gran Colombia. This country eventually broke up into the modern states we know today. Decades later, in the 80s and 90s, Colombia was experiencing some of the worst violence in its decades-long war with the rebel group called the FARC. This war displaced more than 7 million people, more than any other modern war. Hundreds of thousands of those people fled to Venezuela, where the economy was thriving. And the Venezuelans took them in.
Yo fui a Venezuela, yo fui al oriente de Venezuela, estuve 2 años allá.
¿Y los venezolanos?
Me atendieron muy bien, la gente allá es muy acogedora.
Oh, so they're just returning the favor. Even that is commendable. Like most people would not, like, you can see people not remembering. You see in America, people saying it, that I wasn't alive then, it's not my problem. Whatever happened in the past, it's not on me, it's on my parents, not on me. So people could easily say that, but they didn't. They remember that. That's something.
So in a sense, this is the Colombians' way of paying back the Venezuelans for the hospitality they were given. Here at the border, you go down the street a little bit and you see this sign that says, "Welcome to Colombia." Above it, it says, "Colombia and Venezuela united forever." In spite of these two countries being different, having very different governments, there is this common identity among the people. But there are reasons to believe that this sense of solidarity might not last forever. A slew of crimes allegedly committed by Venezuelans have led to a new wave of skepticism in the country. Earlier this year, the police chief in this border town...
See, when she was saying like, okay, I know these people are with good heart, this and that, I'm going to take that on. There's cynical side of me, like, I get it. There are always bad members everywhere. There's going to be 1 out of at least 100 who's going to be bad and will do shit. And are you ready to take that risk? I mean, you're a better person than me. I would be thinking that. And yeah, obviously this was going to happen. This was inevitable.
Told people that they shouldn't rent their properties to Venezuelans after a migrant was arrested for a homicide.
Bueno, como antes que tú llegabas y pase, le servían a uno al 100%.
Hey, you know what? If you do crime normally in society, that's fucked up. But if you do crime when you're basically harboring in other country, where your other countryman relies on goodwill, yeah, that's even more shittier, right? Like you're really a traitor to your own people, because now other people will be affected because of you, even more because you're not in your country, you're a guest.
Ahorita hay esa desconfianza porque hay venezolanos que de verdad lastimosamente hemos hecho lo malo.
But despite the growing skepticism, many Venezuelans continue to see tremendous support in Colombia, a country that has chosen to keep its doors open to the thousands of migrants who come in every day.
All right, that was an interesting video, and this was 6 years ago. Obviously, things might have changed a bit by now. How did Venezuela recover? Because their currency had no value. People are using that as a paper. That's Weimar Republic level shit. So did it recover, or they're like somehow managing? Are they doing that kind of thing? Which is the country who's like, even the, who was that, like Burma? I don't know, not Burma. I forgot the name, right? Vietnam, where like currency's value is so high, they're talking millions of currency for simplest thing. Did they do that? I don't know what's happening. How did their currency recover? Or like it's still dragging on. That's why Trump is doing all the things he's doing. I don't know. But this was an interesting video. It kind of gives me the like layout of what's happening recently. I need to find a history video, man. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. But I need to find a history video between the US and Venezuela. Right, well, I'll see you next time.